Trey Gowdy was in yesterday's closed-door session with Donald Trump Jr. He will be in today's hearing as well, but first he joins us live. And, sir, welcome back. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ray took over for Comey when Comey was fired by the president back in May. What's your first question?
What are you going to do to restore people's confidence and trust in the Department of Justice? Because they've had a miserable 2 years, Bill. It's not just Strzok. That's the latest. And I'm afraid Strzok is not going to be the last. I think there will be other revelations of bias and prejudice and improper conduct on behalf of the Department of Justice. So my first question to him is, what are you going to do to repair not Congress's trust, but the American people's trust and that blindfolded woman holding a set of scales?
The other day, the president said the reputation of the FBI is in tatters. Based on that answer, I guess you agree with the president.
Well, this is where I would, I worked with line agents, the line women and men who are back in South Carolina and other states, and their reputation is not in tatters. They are exactly the kind of people we want working in our Justice Department. But the higher-ups have had a really bad 2 years. And right now, the American people aren't focused on the line agents in Spartanburg and Greenville, South Carolina. They're focused on Comey and McCabe and Comey and now Ray. So it's the higher-ups that's reputations are under assault, not the line agents.
Is the integrity of the agency in question then now?
Of course it is. I mean, Congress should not have to fight with the FBI to access information that we're entitled to. We should not have to threaten contempt of Congress. I don't want the drama of a contempt of Congress floor fight. I want the information that we're entitled to be able to do our jobs, and we shouldn't have to fight with the Department of Justice to access that information.
When they changed the wording to extremely careless on the Hillary Clinton email matter, was that wrong?
That's one of a half dozen things that this particular agent did. But keep in mind, Bill, why he did it. Gross negligence is the phrase in the statute. So that was the phraseology in the initial draft that tracked the statute. Well, it's really difficult to say we're not going to prosecute you under a statute when we use the precise words. So he changed it to extremely careless. There is no difference. The only difference is they weren't going to charge her, so they didn't want to use the words of the statute, and they changed them. My bigger problem is if he had pro-Clinton or anti-Trump bias, what the hell was he doing interviewing Hillary Clinton?
Donald Trump Jr. answered questions for 10 hours yesterday. Is that right? You were in that room?
Close to 10, but it seemed longer.
You said he was, quote, incredibly professional. Did he break any laws, sir?
No. I don't even think he did anything improper. I mean, you know, differing minds can quibble about whether or not you should accept an offer to provide Oppo research. Keep in mind, the DNC was paying $10 million to do Oppo research on Trump. Now, the only difference is we don't have an email, but Glenn Simpson from Fusion GPS reportedly met with this exact same Russian lawyer before and after Donald Trump Jr. did. We just don't have an email memorializing it. So if we're going to outlaw Oppo...
Yeah, that meeting was in Trump Tower of June of 2016. And apparently he had a conversation about that meeting with his father, then candidate Trump, about 3 weeks later. That seems to be the timeline that I've put together based on reading the excerpts from yesterday.
I think it was 11 months later, and I think that is a big distinction. The meeting was in June of 2016. Correct. The conversations with his father were June of 17, July of 17.
Oh, wow, look at that. Well, that is a big distinction. So 13 months later, okay.
Yes,
Your
sir.
colleague, Democrat Adam Schiff, said he cited attorney-client privilege with regard to that conversation. Adam Schiff's got a real problem with that. Do you?
Well, it's funny. Adam does not have a problem when Democrat witnesses cite privileges. Glenn Simpson cited a privilege nobody's ever heard of before. He cited some judge in Alaska for some First Amendment privilege that no one's ever heard of before, and Adam didn't have a problem with that. So what I would ask Adam and all my Democrat colleagues is apply the same standard to Republican witnesses as you do Democrat witnesses. Maybe then the public would have more confidence in our investigations. But number one, when you leak what happened after you said you wouldn't, and then you mischaracterize it, of course nobody's going to have confidence in our investigation.
Two more quick things on that. Then can he, you're an attorney, is he legally allowed to cite that privilege in that closed-door hearing yesterday?
He is, unless there's a waiver, and Adam went through the whole litany of questions to establish whether or not there'd been a waiver, and the answer to every one of them was no. So I get that Adam didn't like the answers, but those are the answers.
Got it. Last question. How significant is the hearing today? What should viewers be listening for?
Whether or not they trust this person to restore the reputation of the FBI. That's all they should be listening for. Is this the right person for us to have confidence in the nation's premier law enforcement agency going forward?
We're watching at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Sir, thank you for your time. Trey Gowdy,
yes, sir.
A Republican from South Carolina on the Hill. Thanks. 10 minutes past.